Welcome back to the Always Reading Book Club. It's your girl, Kiki Reader, and today we're going to jump right back into the Filthy Rich Americans book series by Nikki Sloan. The first installment was The Initiation, and to get that recap, the link is going to be down in the description below. So today we're going to move on to the second installment, which is The Obsession. So where the book left off in The Initiation is that Royce has basically kind of sold Maris for 100,000 shares into the company. And we're still in that scene where she's just stunned because she can't believe that he actually agreed to it. But she should have known he was going to do that. He's already stated that he is a man that is about his end goal, and he's going to do that at, it doesn't matter the cost. And so she's pretty much still in disbelief. McAllister's telling her, he's like, I told you he would do that to you. So I don't really understand what you're shocked for. I'm trying to save you both. I can tell that you two are infatuated with each other, and it's not healthy for the partnership. I know what I'm talking about. And in her brain, she's just like, it's already too late, because she's clearly head over heels in love with this man. So McAllister lets her know, you're going to have to go through with the agreement. The deal's been made. There's no going back. Because she was considering, just bolted, no, I'm not for sale. I'm just going to go. And he lets her know, I control the financial advisor that is over your family's finances right now, which means the same way I put that $5 million into your account, I can take it right back out. So you don't have a choice. And so he lets her know, as long as you're going to be here, you need to be courteous. You need to be, respectful. And she's just sitting there bubbling over because it's like, she feels stuck. Like, what am I supposed to do? And at the same time, she's enraged because she feels like, she's just been thrown to the wolf, basically. So after that, she storms out. Royce has already left because he left her there. Once he got his 100,000 shares, he was gone. And so when she leaves out, he's waiting for her in her room. And she's like, why are you here? And he's like, we need to talk. She's like, for what? What do we need to talk about? He's like, Maris, you don't understand. She's like, no, I do understand. You need to leave. We don't have anything to talk about. And he's like, but I just need to explain to you. And she was like, no. And she kicked him out. So then the next scene opens up where she runs outside into the maze. It's pouring rain, it's lightning, but she's just so disoriented. She just runs out there anyway. She's soaking wet, and after a few minutes, Royce appears with an umbrella, and they're having that heated exchange back and forth. And she's like, I can't believe you did that to me. Like, I'm still so shocked that you would do that to me. And he's like, trust me, those 100,000 shares, they're worth more than buying them on the open market. And she's like, well, how is that? And he's like, I can't tell you that right now. And she's like, well, why can't you? He was like, I will when the time comes, but right now, just know I can't tell you. And so she's just like, whatever. And he's like, don't worry, I'm going to protect you. And she's like, yeah, like you protected me from the initiation, which was like a low blow, but at the same time, yeah, you didn't get protected from that. So it's like, not too much faith in you. So she's still wearing her ring, and he was shocked to see that. He was just kind of like, oh, you're still wearing it. And she's like, I just forgot to take it off. So one of the stipulations of the deal also that she has with McAllister is he's now made the rule that she can no longer drive her vehicle, that she has to surrender her keys over to him, as well as have a driver. And she's like, okay, so I just can't go anywhere. And he's like, no, you're not a prisoner. Stop being dramatic. But if you need to go somewhere, I'll approve it and we'll get you a driver and you can go. And she's just stuck. So that was the last thing she actually did when she went to her room during her confrontation with Royce. So at the end of the fight that her and Royce are having outside in the rain, he tells her, just make sure you keep your door locked at night. And she's like, why would I need to do that? Like, are you scared I'm going to leave or something? He's like, no, it's to make sure he can't get in. And I was like, well, that's kind of scary. That would have freaked me out. Like, if I now have to worry about, even though these people are so controlling, but if I have to worry about you, like, just sneaking in my room, that's creepy. So that would have put me on, like, well, she should already be on high alert, but I think that would have just, I don't know, just sent me over the edge. That would have freaked me out too bad. So the next night, they have their family dinner, which they do once a week, in the dining room that the initiation is performed in. And that's just creepy to me. Like, why are we having to have dinner in the same freaking place? It's like, as big as his home is, there's got to be another dining room. Like, I would have freaked out, but that's where they have their family meals. And so while they're there, they're discussing the upcoming anniversary for Alice and McAllister, the party. And McAllister doesn't really have any interest in details. He pretty much lets Alice know, like, it's her thing. Just make sure it's, of high quality, basically. And so she threw a few ideas at him. And Royce actually was like, well, what about if we do it, with Greek mythology? And, of course, Maris's head pops up. That's her thing. And at first, McAllister was like, oh, that just seems kind of trivial. I don't know about that. And so then he starts to, it could be a masquerade ball, and, you can keep people's identity, but at the same time, you can maybe try and get information out of people. And that's what McAllister holds so dear, is getting information about people. So now he's like, okay, yeah, let's go for it. Just try not to make it look childish. And so Vance is actually the younger brother. I think in the first episode I said he was the older, but I think he's actually the younger brother. And so he used to be on the crew team in college, and he studied political science. So he's actually looking for a career in politics. So that's his whole thing. And there's a really rich guy named Lambert who has a crew team. He has daughters, and apparently they're short-handed, and Vance is going to help out. But McAllister also puts in Vance's head, hey, I also need you to probably date the Jillian girl. You need to bring her to the masquerade party. And they're like, wait a minute, Jillian has like a whole boyfriend. And McAllister's like, and she's going to get a hail. That's a step up. So I don't see what the problem is. Come to find out also, Royce had a little fling with her a long time ago. It was just apparently sex, but of course it does spark a little jealousy in Maris because she's crazy about her Royce. So that's the end of that, because McAllister said that was, and so it's like, okay, you're pretty much going to pursue Jillian, and that's that. And it's kind of weird because Alice is sitting at the table. She's got a whole affair going on with Vance, which in itself is twisted, but she shows nothing. And if you didn't know any better, and I mean, why would she? She's right there in front of her husband. Why would she show anything, even if it did affect her? And so then we have McAllister lets Maris know, hey, after dinner, I need to speak with you. And so Royce all of a sudden is like, what for? And he's like, me and her have business. It has nothing to do with you. So it's nothing for you to concern yourself with. And Royce tries to get Maris to agree for him to come along. And she's like, no, I'm fine. I can handle it. So they go into his office, his study, and have the conversation. He lets her know that basically her family is in uh, complete financial duress, and that the $5 million barely put a dent into what they were owed. And so McAllister lets her know, like, she's like, so I did all this for nothing? And he's like, I wouldn't say nothing. He's like, I haven't taken their home. But he's like, you should have asked more questions. You should have really tried to find out more so exactly what was their financial issues money wise. Like, what was that real total number? And she didn't do that. And so, therefore, because, if she had she could have negotiated a higher number, but she didn't. So, um, then they're having a little discussion, and he's kind of letting her know. He reveals that um, the only reason he is friends, well, has this type of friendship with Lambert, because it's really not a type of person he would be friends with. This guy's very boisterous and loud, and that's not McAllister's cup of tea. But McAllister wants to be on the board of the Federal Reserve, and so therefore he needs him in order to get that nomination. So that's the reason for him wanting Jillian to, and Vance to get together. He could care less about them, but he has an end goal. And so then she discovers a chessboard, and she goes over to it, and he asks her, do you know how to play chess? And she says no. He says, don't lie to me. And she's like, no, I'm not lying to you, I really don't know. He's like, okay, well then it's set, I'll teach you. He was like, we'll have lessons every night, and we'll do it until you beat me. And she agrees to do it, but under the circumstance that she's out of school right now. She hasn't started her final year at Edison's. And so she says, okay, cool, but I want to be Royce's assistant. And he's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. You'll be that wouldn't work. She said, well, you said the purpose of me coming here was that, we would get to, get to know each other. And I barely see him because he's always at the office. And when he's not at the office, he comes in really late. And we're not spending any time together. So how are we getting to know each other? She's like, at least this way, I'll learn more about him. And at the same time, it might annoy him a little bit to have me around. And that's what sparked McAllister's interest. Because it's like, oh, well, if it's going to annoy him, yeah, we'll do it. I'll set it up. So the next day, she goes in. They actually had, it was a bad day at the stock market too. It was kind of funny. It was the day she goes, the first day, and then it actually wound up being a bad day in the stock market. But it seemed like something else was going on. Royce was super sad. And even when McAllister came in to play chess, he was drinking, and she had never saw him drink. He might have a champagne, a toast or something, but he's not a drinker. And then she finds out the reason everyone was so sad was because it was the day that McAllister's wife, Royce's mother, had died. So it's a really hard day for everyone. And after that, the following day, or a couple days later, they're doing a photo shoot with their engagement photos. And Maris gets a call from her mother, hysterical. And she's like, oh my God, Emily, we're rushing her to the hospital. She's bleeding. We think she's losing the baby. So Maris freaks out, and she's like, oh my God, I gotta go. And he's like, what's wrong? And she tells him, Emily's bleeding, I need to get to the hospital. And she starts freaking out. This is why I need my car, because I need to go, not wait for a freaking, service to come and pick me up. So finally, he's like, don't worry, I got it, don't worry. So he gets a car there. They get him to the hospital. And the doctor says she's okay right now. She's stable, but we're still going to keep her